Hello everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you're visiting my channel again, or for the first time, welcome. And I really appreciate you checking out my videos. Um, I have an interesting little pile here. I wanted to show that this is a project I'm working on, and all of these have one thing in common. Well, they have a couple of things, but these are all paper bags. Paper bags that I'm covering with cloth of different kinds and and then making single signatures. I need to restock my Etsy store. It seems that my single signature paper bag journals are selling the best, so if that's what customers want, let's make some more of them. Now, I have one that's finished. I'm going to be doing more videos about these, but I want to get some restock going here. So, yeah, I've got here this paper bag, and I've kind of got some signature ready to go here. So there's that one, and that's got this fabric that's going to go on it. So I'm looking for papers that kind of go with the fabric. I've had a lot of scraps like that one and this one, and well, all of these were scraps that were given to me. So this is just a fun little piece. There's not much there, but it's perfect for a paper bag. And then I was thinking I'm going to wrap the handles and leave the handles on this one and just wrap it so that they stay in this kind of a curlicue sort of configuration. So I have this one just about ready to go. And this one was a burlap sack, so I cut that open. Burlap's kind of fun. And I've put together a lot of packing paper for this one. Lots of packing paper. So there's that one. I went with a white gift bag for this one. And I have some scrapbook paper and some painted paper. And it's going to get this pink cloth as a cover. Well, at least that's the plan. I have some pink papers. So there's that one. And then this purple one. I had this purple fabric. So I've already glued this one up. And I have a little plan here. So it's beautiful. And I had to do a kind of a patchwork on it. But it's really neat. Really neat fabric. I have a little scrap for the closure. I'm going to show you what I've come up with this closure. And I've got that kind of just about ready to go. So there's that one. And the one that I shall do a flip through on today is this black and white one. And here is the closure I just mentioned. This is an elastic hairband, and I sewed a button on. And this is a paper bag. So let's dive in and take a look at this one because this is ready to go on the Etsy shop. So yeah, I finished it, and I had not figured out a closure yet, but I had one little scrap of this fabric left. And so I took it to the sewing machine and I folded it in thirds and just zigzag stitched it with this hairband stuck inside, and then I stitched it down. So being a paper bag, it just has this bottom, and I just left the bottom intact, and I put a piece of cardboard on the inside of the bag to give it a little more stiffness. And this is just a 6x6 paper pad folded up. And I had enough fabric to go from here all the way around and inside here. And there was just a little bit of a scrap left to go here. So you can kind of see how all of that worked. And there was a scrap for here. And then there was, all that was left was this. So all I needed was a piece of scrapbook paper. And I've got 19, let's see, 4 times 19 is, there's 17 pages front and back. So let's pop through that. The trickiest thing here was, once I decided this would make a fun closure, was what is this elastic going to go around? And well, I needed a button, but I needed to stitch it so that this pocket stayed open. So none of this was in there. I was able to open it up, and I put a little reinforcement in there. And so I was just fiddling around with getting that needle through, and I was able to go around. It was five or six, I think 6 times I was able to go around. So that button is really secure, and it goes through the fabric and the paper bag and this little reinforcement, which is 2 layers of cardstock. So you can see how that works, and there's a piece of lightweight, um, I don't know what you would call this, but it's a lightweight cardboard that is glued on the inside, on this side and on the back side. So we have 2 layers of fabric, one on here and one out here. So it's very strong. It's a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, so it's good to go, right? So this is a nice big pocket, little notepad, and then I thought because of the button, I would just go ahead and insert a piece of cardboard that whoever winds up owning this, they can take that out. They can actually turn it into a big card. They can turn it into a writing board. Just let them decide. This was some leftovers from this inside, so I like to include some of the scraps and things like that so that there's something extra to play with. Now basically this is a fairly plain journal. I didn't do a whole lot in it because I didn't want to make it super fat. The most recent journal sales I've had are for people, and I communicated with a couple of them, and they really wanted something simple because they're going to do their own thing. So they want some fun stuff to play with, but they want to do their own thing. So scrapbook paper, just fold it up, make a pocket. This was from some coffee dyeing I was doing. Came out with some rather interesting patterns. So I've got a couple of those. This is just I think that was an 8x8 paper pad, and I turned it into one of those coin envelope kinds of things. Offcut from here, comes over here, creates a belly band, and I decided to get out the whale tail punch that I got recently and have some fun with it. And since these pages are mostly different sizes, all of the brown paper, which is from packaging, is the same size, but everything else is a different size. So the tabs are kind of nice because they make it easier to find your place. So anyway, pretty simple. Little music paper, some napkin that's been the glue turned it into paper by doing that glue treatment. I don't know what to call it. So it's very simple. It does have pockets. It does have some fun things. This is a coffee filter. You could put a little tag in here. And I just folded it up a little bit, folded it in half again, and so now you have a couple of pockets on each side. So I just wanted to pull from all my stash lots of variety. This is again that kind of glued tissue paper that creates a really strong, interesting texture. It's fun stuff. So that's a good tuck spot. This is a tuck spot. More of the glued napkin. But this one, I glued it onto a piece of paper, so you've got writing space here. Or collaging, or pictures. Put a coloring book page in the middle. There's some lined paper. This actually could be cut and then folded down, so I'll leave that for whoever owns it. And we have the other half of things. Now this is a flip out and a big pocket. And this opens up. And also because I don't charge very much for these simple single signature paper bag junk journals. I didn't spend the time, because it does take a lot of time to ink all the edges. So that's going to be a personal project for whoever owns it if they want that. And here's a little taller, skinnier form of a coin envelope. And then there's, oh yes, there's these little bitty pieces. But you know what these would be good for? They could be tag toppers. I have some tags in there that you could very easily punch a hole, and you've got tag toppers. Another of that rather interesting coffee dyed paper, and there's a nice big chunk of that scrapbook paper I used. I had a dot left, so why not? And then we're at the back. And I always include my little label. So there it is. And there is room to grow. This is an elastic. So there's room to grow. This is securely sewn on. And it's basically a soft cover. So there's the back. So I'm just calling this Black Batik. And it's going in my Etsy shop. And then I'm just going to work one at a time. I'm going to show you the process on one or two of the other ones that I started out with. And yeah, I have ideas. So lots of things to work on. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here. Sometimes simple and plain is better. And I'm finding that that appeals to a lot of people. Also, I can sell these at a lower cost. You know, I've got some expensive ones on there. And I love doing all of that fun stuff and the 3 or 4 or 5 signatures or 2 signatures that are super fancy or whatever. But, you know, there's something to be said for simplicity. And paper bags are a wonderful starting point, especially when you cover them with some fabric and they're extra strong, but the flexibility is nice and they're smaller, more portable. Anyway, I'm that's what I'm working on. So, again, thanks for watching. See you next time.